Welcome back to another episode of the Blitz Break. I'm your host, Phil Rasmussen. We're back here on a Friday, the day before Valentine's Day. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. As always, joined by my partner in crime, sadly matching me both in color and in message. I don't know how I feel about that, other than my support for Give Culture with his Give Heart shirt. Buzz Howard, legendary Texan, wearing his colorful shoes just to finally appease me with the white kicks.
You like these? These are really cool, but they're not real comfortable to wear like around town. These are showpieces.
Spectator shoes.
Right. Love.
Okay. Yep.
It's got love on it somewhere, but anyway.
As long as you are, making an effort, I'm grateful. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
I've got my other shoes in my office. I'm super gluing them, so they're going to be fine for another month or two.
I actually can do some amazing things with white kicks. I could probably make those things look new, but we won't go there. And back this week, missed you last week, our social media guru, connector extraordinaire, wonderfully matched.
I
and
know.
You did
Look
it
at us for Valentine's Day. Let's go.
I love the gold on the white and everything.
Yeah.
Julie Shroyer, welcome back.
Glad to be back. I've missed you guys.
Me
yeah,
too.
You were gone last week.
I was. Maybe
was it
2
the
weeks.
last 2 weeks?
It's 2 weeks.
Yeah,
It's
what
been
have
a while.
you been doing?
I don't know.
How have you survived without us?
It was rough.
I would say probably more like a vacation, but that's neither here nor there. I know for 2 weeks this guy has come in and seriously those white kicks, like I know I make it, it's like the viewers have got to be like every week, but seriously, like it's really bad.
I had to super glue them. They're in there.
Like it's legitimately like
they're being fixed
they carry
right now.
conversations with you when you go down the hallway.
I get it.
It's pretty bad.
I get it, Buzz.
Well, yeah.
Well, we're back today. It's the three of us. As you can see, Buzz and I are wearing our Give Heart shirts, sweatshirt, t-shirt. We have our first event that we're very excited about. So for those of you local to Sacramento, at Roller King this evening, we've got our first event, the skate date night. And for our Fresno, Madera, Visalia crowd, we have it also down at United Skate, down in the Clovis area of the Fresno market as well. So
yeah.
We're excited. Clients, bring your kids, bring your spouse, significant others. Go have some fun, skate for a few hours, have some fun on us, and we're excited to do that in collaboration with Give Culture. Julie, I know you won't be there because you're. It's our fault we didn't invite you early enough, but you will be at the
Sacramento Association of Realtors crab feed tonight. Excited about that.
Yeah, that's always a good event.
It is always well attended. You get to see old friends, everybody from the real estate community, real estate lenders, title, home warranty. They all come together to raise money for the Salvation Army, I believe.
Is the primary?
Yeah.
Yep, that is.
Yep.
Where's it being held this year?
At the Mac Powell Center.
At the Mac Powell
on
Center.
Howe Avenue.
On Howe. Yep. Okay. So at the main spot.
Yep.
At the main spot. That's great. Well, you being there, I guess you not being there would be more of a shock than anything else. But when you look at a lot of those events, let's kind of jump right in. Like, what do you see and what do you think about? You're going there. You're like you said, you're going to get to connect with everybody, and it's everyone from the industry. What's kind of your plan or your thought as you go in and thoughts that you might have about how people approach those things?
I think, and I'll use last night as an example. I was at the Toast to the Top Real Producers, top 300 real estate agents for San Joaquin and Stanislaus County. And it was a beautiful event. But when I'm going to those events, I am thinking strategy. My job with my company is to grow. And I'm looking for talent and quality people to grow. It's not so much about revenue. It's about the quality of the person and will they fit our culture. So I kind of use it for that, just who I connect with, who's really working the room, who's networking, who's doing what they should be doing. And it's also a great opportunity to meet high caliber people when you're in, and you're very familiar with Real Producers, when you're with like kind that are very disciplined, committed to excellence. That's why they're in the top,
Sure.
the top of the top. It's great. And you learn from them and you grow and you get new ideas. So I'm always trying to talk and create conversation that leads that way.
You know, a lot of those events, like the Real Producer, they are truly networking events. They're created
Truly
for being networking events. So the other types of events that we see, like tonight, the crab feed, a lot of times those you can utilize them for networking and business, but it's also supposed to be pleasure. Somewhat, you know, you're there to have a really good meal, to raise money for a really good cause, those types of things. So how do you balance those ideas?
I agree with you. Like the crab feed is more fun and just a time to mingle with friends, as opposed to the Real Producers is really targeted at networking and building relationships.
Yeah.
So it is a different animal, but I look forward to the crab feed because, like I told you earlier, every entity is there. So real estate, lenders, home warranty, title reps, escrow officers, title officers, like the whole gamut is there. And I love to see who comes to that and then reacquaint with people I haven't seen for years.
I think you probably like the dessert auction
I
at
do.
the end.
I did. I think I spent $450 for a cake one year.
For a
I'm
cake
probably
you
still
could have
paying
gotten
that off, Phil.
Oh, you could have gotten that cake for $20, but
At Costco. Thank you.
$450. Yeah. Yeah,
A couple
there's
drinks.
4 of us that are gonna.
500.
Hey.
Right.
Well, like specifically, I think with people that attend those, one of the things that I think they make the mistake of, and I would put myself in that category as well too, is the opportunity to network and not really capitalizing on it and understanding the art of, maybe it's the art of conversation, but you know, I've always found it kind of a compelling, like people watching kind of dynamic where you can see people that are there to enjoy themselves, have a good time, have conversation. And then you can see the people that are there and it's like they're there either too nervous to interact or people that are actually trying to sell in the middle of an event. And you can come across both of those throughout your time. And I find that always very interesting. What's your take or advice or thoughts on that? Because you know, Buzz's point, you're there to have a good time, you're there to raise money, or you're there to just network, but it's really about building a relationship. That's not the time for either of the other two that I just mentioned.
Agreed. And I think it's your ability to see and look in the room and find out who are the people that are uncomfortable and not okay with these kind of events, and to make them feel relaxed. And so I think that's a gift of a good salesperson, is you can look across the room and you can see people who are like, I cannot wait till this event is over, but I'm here because I know I'm supposed to be here. And I think if you have the gift of just conversation and putting them at ease, then here's the point we haven't talked about. I think the key to network events is the day after. So you start rapport with somebody and then you follow up with them the next day and say, it was really great to meet you. I'm looking forward to this next year. And I don't think anybody takes it from there to there, or I will say
So few.
Right.
This brings up, and I really like where you're going with that, is because what I try to do at those kind of events is I'm always, like you said, I'm always looking for people that I'm not familiar with, someone that I've never met, or if you look in someone that's sitting by themselves or feeling uncomfortable, I like to go over and just introduce myself and say, I've never met you. You know, how have we crossed paths and those kind of things.
What do you say when they go, yeah, that was on purpose?
That was on purpose. I really don't want to talk to you. It's like shed a little tear. And then I give them a big hug, make them feel really comfortable. But, you know, there's a guy out there that I'm trying to remember who told me about. Every Thursday, I put out a note that's today's Thankful Thursday. Who have you thanked? That type of stuff. And so someone's shot me a thing about a guy that's out there on the circuit and writing books. He's Mr. Thank You. And his whole thing is sending 3 thank yous a day and to see what happens with your life down the line. And what most people don't do, that's so easy to open those conversations later is to meet someone, pick up their business card, whether it's an open house, whether it's an event like tonight, whether it's just a office meeting, is to then drop them a personal handwritten, really good to see you. Not saying I want to sell you anything, just it was
Great
really
to meet
nice
you.
to meet you.
Yep.
And I look forward to running into you again, and your business card, and the impact that makes on people is tremendous. They will
100%.
remember you forever.
Yeah. And I think people go and approach people you don't know because you never know what's going to come from it. So I was at a Placer Association of Realtors meeting, and there was this girl I've never seen before, and I knew she was in sales, and I introduced myself, and that introduction led to like a 20-minute conversation, obviously about social media. She was well networked in Instagram, but it led to more and more, and we actually talked after on the phone for 20 more minutes. So it's just amazing if you can just get through that first hurdle, like, I don't know you, but I'd love to meet you, let's talk. It can open up so many doors for you.
Well, and I actually, one of the things that, and people say this or ask me all the time, how do you do that and what do you say to them? A lot of times, I'll be honest, I tell them, look, when I decided to come to these kind of events, my goal is to meet people and say hi to people that I don't know. And so I just wanted to say hi. Where do you work? And it's honest, and you kind of have to know when to walk away because if they're going, I don't want you here, if they're that uncomfortable, it's like, well, I just wanted to meet you. I hope you have fun tonight, and you walk away. But a lot of times just the honesty it opens doors. And I do that with recruiting. I do it with others. I tell people, I just want to network with people that I don't know because I enjoy your perspectives. I enjoy hearing your story, how you got to where you are. And so if anything, we all need more friends.
Yeah.
And so I start a lot of those kind of conversations exactly that way, just being honest. My goal is to meet 3 people that I've never met.
Yeah, I do that.
You're the next one.
Yeah.
You know?
Lucky you.
Yeah, lucky you.
Right, as well. I know one of the strategies I've been told to clear out an event is to start sending you around the room with that story, and then everybody
leaves. It's
everybody
like, oh, here he
leaves, and
comes.
they're like, this is how we clear out the event. But looking kind of at the networking and social fronts, right? When you talk about follow up, which you just both hit on, I think that goes to what I find maybe being the biggest challenge to, I don't want to say a generation. I think it's kind of cross-generational at this point, but the instant gratification component that gets in the way of how people tend to operate in these situations, right? And the recognition of what is the benefit. You just touched on being memorable, being someone that's now a familiar face going forward. I think people go into events like that with the wrong expectations and the wrong maybe objectives or hopes, and then what is instant gratification is almost now a letdown because they don't achieve a particular result. And the ones that do it well, realizing that, part of building a relationship, nothing happens overnight, and follow-up is really important. I know I've been guilty of it all the time, where you meet so many people and then, you're in the, how do you follow up with everybody and what do you say? But I think that kind of goes to the point of there isn't a ton to say other than it was great to meet you. And I think that people do overcomplicate.
Yes. And I think you go back to success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. And Buzz and you too, so many people, and you never know when that referral will come, or, hey, do you know, how many times that's happened, and it's just doing the work every day. It will all come together. Recruits will come together. Deals will come together. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I fall back on, but you're right. It was great to meet you instead of, hey, can't wait to close your next deal. Cause it really, ruins the whole.
Yep.
It's really nice to meet you. Leave it at that.
It's really all it is
Yeah.
at that
Yeah.
point, right? And,
Yep.
and you haven't done anything to earn anything
No.
beyond that anyway. And I think, the other part that I was just starting to put some items together to start posting on this, but people need to understand what is an actual differentiator and what is essentially, for lack of a better word, makes you easily forgettable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like where what you say and what you do, the minute you walk away, you're forgotten. And I think that to a lot of salespeople and these networking events, you go to, here's what you do, here's what you say, and people get kind of whitewashed into all doing and saying the very same things in such a way that, once again, you're forgettable, and you leave the event having made zero impact. And we talk about being authentic and genuine and all this on social media and on. So, I bring this question to both of you guys and pose it kind of to the audience. There are strategies, but you do have to be memorable, and you have to do something to make it so your presence was something that left a mark. That's your goal, right? Is so that when you do reach out and say, hello, it was great meeting you, they're like, I don't even remember meeting that person. And one of the problems, like I said, you go to certain sessions or seminars and they'll tell you, oh, do this, or, like call real estate agents on Mondays, or, it's like, and then you become a part of the crowd. So, being memorable, what would you both comment on that? Like making yourself a memorable, contact or conversation.
At a networking event, obviously, I choose taking pictures, because even if I didn't know you two from Adam, if I was like, hey, can I get your picture? You're like, okay, who is she? I don't know, but okay, we'll take our picture together, right? Typically, that's how I break the ice. Like, thank you so much. Here's my name. So then now I've already connected. Now they're going to connect with me on my social media channels. They don't know who I am yet, but they will. So I take pictures, and this sounds weird, but I also have and this wouldn't work for you two, but I have a really blingy business card holder. I mean, it is like very bright, and they always comment on it. Like, hey, you want my business card? And I think they remember me. I know it sounds petty, but it works, I think.
You and bling?
Yeah.
What?
I mean, it is super shiny.
Hyper offended that you don't
Yeah.
think that I can rock the blingy.
I mean, maybe
I
black.
like hyper. That's really. I'm not even gonna pretend to say that my feelings aren't hurt. However, I am gonna say that the taking the picture piece.
Yeah.
Maybe not as easy. I think there is an element of
It's easy to approach, right? Like, I don't need to know you and just say, hey, can I get your picture? And they're always wanting to get their picture taken. Even that's a good icebreaker, if that makes sense.
I think there's probably some who would say it's probably easier for probably for women to go about asking for the picture or doing the picture than probably for us as men.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I certainly know you're creepy in general, so and me.
True, I didn't
double
even
the
think
creep
that through.
factor, so
I did not think that through.
Maybe not as easy, and
Yeah. Want to take a picture with me?
You're right. Bad idea, Buzz. I'm sorry.
They're all going, not really, dude.
No, dude.
Yeah, no.
No, just come here. Let me put my arm around you.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Okay, it's a bad
I've been
idea.
beat up more
Bad.
times. I just don't understand.
I think the picture, for me, and I know, being taller, 6'7", I was just having this conversation last week with a former teammate of mine, Noel Felix, who's 6'9", black guy. Like, people have a certain kind of almost intimidation factor, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm 6'7". For years, I've always had to kind of deal with being overly smiley and even as my muscle mass has shrunk over the years from lifting, not happening. Knowing that being friendly, there's a different approach, male and female.
Yes,
I think that
for sure.
is important to recognize, right?
What would be a funny series of pictures for someone that's really tall? is getting with people and going, hey, let's do a selfie. And you take the selfie where you just cut off the top of their head like this, and then you keep posting it, and all the, and you say, here I am with Julie, and it's just the top of her head. That'd be a funny, don't you think that would...
It could take off.
I'm not so sure that would have the effect that you think it would have, but I would think it'd be funnier if you cut your own head off all the time.
Or that, where you've got
like
Julie
and you're cut off.
And you're just
less
from here
offensive.
down. Yeah, but I think that we need to lean into one or the other.
Yes.
I think that'd be funny to might be good to cut your head off. So that we could do that.
I get my head bitten off a lot. That's for different reasons. But on the social front, I think that, we're talking about this and the networking and the social media, and that's what we talk about a lot on the show. And since it's the three of us today, I just think kind of tying back in all of it, and that we're talking about events in person tonight, all three of us. Social media events, social media networking. I think being memorable is the thing that I want to draw attention to this week, because it's become a pretty steady talking point for me of late. Maybe not so much of late that it's new, but really just drawn attention to it for me, that so many are trying to sound the same. Like they're trying to fit a script, a routine, something that, say this and do this, to a point that they're losing the idea of being memorable. And I mentioned, like I said, a few individuals that I've become big fans of, and for loan officers, I'm available to talk to your clients in the evenings. I give good service. I have these products. As a real estate agent, I do a good job. I promote and I market your home. I have a good photographer. I have a large network. Like, you can list all these things. It's like, that's all a prerequisite of the job. Like, that doesn't make you memorable any more than, I think big time asking, hey, come meet me for coffee. If you have a relationship and you get that coffee meeting, that's great, but people get asked to go to coffee a lot, right? And so I've been really on a big kick of people needing to start really spending more time thinking about being memorable and being different, and not trying to be the same old. And there's a really great analogy that I read, and we read in our meeting, right, about the way that people advertise themselves sometimes is correlated to, like, if you went to a restaurant and on the restaurant speaker, they were like, hey, we're so-and-so restaurant, we cook your food. You'd be like, duh, that's why I'm here. Like, I expect you to cook my food. Or getting into an airplane and the pilot going, I'm going to take off and land your plane. You'd be like, yes, I expect that. Like, that, if you can't, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Right.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make that a special flight or a special meal. Like, there are other elements that are thought of. And yet when you hear people in our industry talk a lot, the things that they actually talk about are the equivalent to that. And so that's been a really heavy talking point for me for I would say years now, but months, and even more so, just really honing in on trying to help people understand why that's so important and how not to be forgettable.
I think that a lot of what we've been doing lately says a lot about it. And, just like these shirts, it says give heart. And one of our things that we've been building is a program that we're calling Give Value. And I think that the answer to making yourself stand out is giving value beyond the expected you know, we expect you to cook our food, but what gives value is the additional ambiance, the service, you know, all the other factors that go into, you know, that experience. And so several of the things that we're doing is building a network where we're giving value of discounts on all types of products and services. The latest partner that's joined in with us is a company called Jaguar Heating and Air Conditioning. Great company here in Sacramento, and they're going to be offering our clients and the people in our ecosystem discounts and on services that you need. And so it's really building things like that, networks where you can get the needed services, feel good about trusting the people to be there, you know, at your house, working on your home, those types of things, and even kind of segues into tonight's event. While you're going and having crab, we're going to be, you know, working off our food, which we're having a skate date night.
Looking like idiots falling on roller skates.
That's right.
Yes.
Breaking arms and, you know, but we wanted to do a series this year and the next year of events with our past clients, show them appreciation. I mean, this is actually one of those things that I would say is a community service announcement, is because there's a lot of guys right now that are out there going, what? It's Valentine's Day tomorrow? And so they're thinking, what do I do? Well, we're doing a family skate date night so that you could bring your family, enjoy time together, skating, the kids having fun, those types of things. It really is about giving more value. We're going to make sure that our clients know we appreciate them, that they have things like this to go to, you know, with the family. I mean, who doesn't like going skating with the family? They also serve beer and wine there, so which is important, but not to the kids.
I have to spend more than 5 minutes with you, I need at least 2 beers.
But and another thing that we're planning later this year that him and I really are kind of digging is a drive-in movie night for Halloween, where we're going to have a family, you know, friendly movie going on. We're going to do trunk or treat in the parking lot. I mean, just all sorts of fun stuff for a drive-in movie. When was the last time you went to a drive-in movie? I mean, that's Americana. And so a lot of it, Phil, I think is the great things that you and I are doing right now, trying to bring added value to not just, hey, I can do your loan, to I can do your loan, but I can also help you with all the other things that you need and help save you money long term. And we can also, you know, provide you with events to go to and enjoy with your family. We did a Christmas party. Did you come to the Christmas?
Oh yes, she did.
Were you there?
She tried to steal half the.
Santa
She ran out of there with the presents.
That might have been me or my sister.
But you know, an event so that people could come and take pictures with Santa Claus.
Yeah, it was great.
And buy little stocking stuffers and things like that. So those type of events, I think that we're doing a lot right now towards building that value for our clients. So those are the types of things that I truly think make us or help us stand out and be memorable, and also people will want to be partners with us.
Yeah, and it is about creating a memorable experience that they don't expect. Yeah. So a top lender in California, one of the things he does is he sends a gift card like halfway through the transaction, like enjoy a cup of coffee at Starbucks while you drive by your new home you're going to be purchasing, or something like that. There's something that takes them by surprise that is not expected. I think that's another part, is to create an experience like no other. I go back to video, and there's one agent, and you know how many agents I've worked with in my 30-year career? Like hundreds. Yep. There's only one agent that's ever video texted me happy birthday. And it's impactful. He does it every year. I'll call him out right now. His name is Michael Shoemaker. And he calls me every year on a video and says, "Happy birthday, Julie. Just want to wish you a great day." And I never forget that.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to start thinking about, what are people not doing? That's what you need to be doing.
Well, I think that's one brilliant. I know I've actually done some, over the years, the happy birthday video text, and I just feel bad. I'm like, gosh, I have to look at my face for that. So that's part of the problem. But I think to put a stamp on the idea of why we chose give value, and what I think actually matters most is giving without the expectation of something in return is what fundamentally I believe in the most. And I think throughout my life, most of my success has always been associated with helping others achieve. And I've always received the most fulfillment out of helping someone else achieve their goals, someone else find a spot where they're now able to get comfortable and start to focus and pursue and remove some of the distractions that were standing in the way of them being able to, go and grow their branch or their team or their production, or, as a coach, giving a kid an opportunity to finally develop a skill set or work on something. Like, that's always been the reward for me. And I've always kind of seen my success, it just will happen in connection with doing the right thing. It's easy to get jaded in life because that isn't always true. It doesn't always play out that way. But I think if you look at what is the right mentality and what we're trying to build is the idea of giving value without an expectation of something in return.
Yeah.
And that's how you build trust. That's how you build familiarity. It's also the thing that I think really helps stand out when you are standing in a room full of people and you can see the people who every move they make, there's some sort of an expectation that they're going to get something, versus those that are genuinely going around the room just trying to give value. You've always been one of those people since the day I met you way back to the beginning of this young idiot's mortgage career, that, you never walked away from a conversation with you and felt like, oh, there's something that Julie wants from me out of it. Like you said, it's a connection, a conversation. And I do think that's something that, look, we're all in business, and there's nothing wrong with being very clear about what you do, the service you offer, the value that it provides, and why it's important for people to think of you. But that doesn't mean that you're always in sales mode.
Right.
And I think that's the thing that I'm most ambitious about in 2026, and have been at an increasing rate of velocity, trying to spread this message with loan officers and real estate agents, is stop being in sales expectation mode all the time. Let people know what you do and go about delivering value without an expectation, and it will find its way to you if you're doing that genuinely. But the first and hardest part, and we spent hours on this, is understanding when we say give value, what does that mean? Value is different to everyone. And like you talked about, something surprising, something that's meaningful. In order for you to really deliver value to someone, you have to invest the time to get to know them a little bit.
100%. Yep.
And that's the part that, quite honestly, I think people project onto their clients, their target relationships, and their partners, their ideas of what value are, instead of paying true attention to what value is to them.
Or even asking them, yeah. I agree with you on this idea. There's one of the old school thoughts of sales is always be closing, always be asking for the business. And I've never been a true fan of that, because while the message is good, the implementation is usually off, meaning walking up and saying, hey, I'd like to get your next, your business, thinking that immediate gratification without earning it first. And I believe that goes back to the thank you cards. I think if I went out on an open house and I'm a loan officer and I'm meeting realtors, I want to go in and I want to meet them. I want to see the house that they have open. I want to, of course, I buy real estate and I want to know, is this a good buy? But more than anything, I want to see if this is someone that, either needs my help or is doing a great job, whatever. I'm going to walk out without trying to sell them, because that's the first thing that that's when you go into a store and the little girl comes up and she says, can I help you with anything? What do you immediately do? You say, no, thank you. I'm just shopping. Mm-hmm. Because they haven't really earned that right to help you yet. And you don't have a specific need yet. And it's just like that on an open house. You don't want to try to sit there because they're going, please don't stay here. I don't really want to hear your spiel. But if I then turn around and walk out without it, and then I send them a thank you note that says, great open house, great job, hope it sells, quick for you, hope to see you again soon. Now they're going, wow, that was nice. It was nice that they came by. It's nice that they're not bugging me. And you're actually standing out from other people. Yes. Because you're not going for the kill. You're not trying to take something that you haven't earned yet. And it's that relationship that you need to then go about earning by being available, sending them value adds, those types of things. So I agree with you that you first come at people from a servitude mentality, a thankful stance. Thank you for letting me be here. Wonderful job. That type of stuff. And then start showing your value. Usually when you show your value, people will respond and utilize your services. Mm-hmm. And that's an art form that I think most people don't utilize very well. And it goes back to what you and I were talking about, the usage of database. Everything is about gathering databases and creating relationships with people and providing them with value. I mean, we were talking about databases.
How it's so underutilized. It's the main source of business, that if people would focus on that consistently, they would double, triple their business, but yet they don't. I would be curious how many of you have a solid, clean database in place right now that you touch on a weekly, monthly basis. Because if you do that, I mean, the numbers don't lie. The top producers in this town all are very systematic with their database. So I think you're right on that. That's the number one thing I tell agents, just get that in place and clean it up. Like email, phone number, not, I just have a first name, I'm not really sure. Like, clean it up, because the better that it is, the more money you'll make.
Well, and the more efficient you will be with reaching out to people. And just the process of building that database brings value and business. Because if I'm a loan officer and I'm reaching out to someone, I'm going, hey, you saw you at the baseball game with the kids the other day. Listen, I just wanted to, build up my database with you. I was going to send you an email the other day and thought, I don't have your email. And so that process creates conversations. And I know you're busy with your kids' basketball team and all those parents that are there. Those become, those are perfect times when you're saying, I really need to be able to contact you guys, would love to bring extra value. And then you have to actually bring the value. If I was a coach, maybe I would be sending them, videos of new techniques that they could show their kids, or cool events. If it's basketball, cool event is a Kings game. Let's all get together, take the kids to a Kings game, or those kinds of things. You have to really work the database and actually do what you say you're going to do. That's the whole thing, and that's why I think our new program of give value is going to be such an important thing, because we're going to be actually sending that information out to people. Don't forget, when you need, I mentioned Jaguar heating and air conditioning. There's another plug. But every time we send that out, we're telling people, hey, one of the most important systems in your house is your heating and air conditioning here in Sacramento. Mm-hmm. And these guys can tune it up. Or everybody's got plumbing problems. These plumbers can do this. These roofers, one of the new trends out there is not just replacing your roof, but treating your roof, getting all the crap off of it, treating the shingles,
getting the gutters cleaned out every single fall.
And these things, every few years, having someone do like that could extend that roof life for 10, 15, 20 years.
Wow.
And I don't know about you. I've got one of my rental houses I need a roof on right now, and it's like terrifying because it's $20,000 to put a roof on nowadays. Yep. And it's like, how am I going to get that money? Most people, that's their thought process. So anything that we can bring value on, it sets us apart. And so it's going to be such a key part of our business moving forward.
Yeah.
Well, I think giving value, again, you mentioned something like at the in an open house. Making an attempt to close an agent while at an open house is a reflection of not understanding what value is to them.
Right.
You're not giving them value by approaching them, trying to close. Like you are projecting your own value into that environment, not what is of value to them. Right. Like what they're there to do is to show the house, connect with those that have come in to see it, make sure they get contact information, answer any questions, don't miss people, especially if multiple people come through. That's why so many loan officers work open houses with real estate agents, right? Is to capture the opportunity to have multiple people in there and not have them go through without having a chance to get questions answered. That sounds silly, but like, go back and then be that real estate agent who has someone come in and try to sell them something while they're in the middle of that. And of course they aren't. You're projecting the wrong ideology into the equation. Like, that's your value. That's what you want, not what they need.
Right.
And I think that where it's interesting and what we're talking about, database driven, you've established a rapport, you've already built some trust. The idea that you can communicate and not use that to the fullest is definitely one of the biggest wastes that a lot of loan officers have. Mm-hmm. I also think there's an underestimation of the threat of not being more disciplined around it that's taking place in our industry, because with the onslaught, not the advent, but the onslaught of AI, right? Like where AI is at today and where it's going, your database is not just your database. It's yours, but it's also, those people are in other databases. Like other people have come into contact with them, and mismanagement of it is to not stay in contact with them at a rate that keeps you top of mind and is delivering value. And to me, I keep reminding people through a conversation, I'll ask the question all the time, like, how many times would somebody that you consider very close in your database, very loyal, you've done a lot of great business together, you've done right by them all the way through, how many times would they have to be contacted by a company who's maybe used AI to capture your voice throughout social and the internet and constantly push value with them, how many times would they need to be contacted with things before they might consider going elsewhere? The answer isn't a one size fits all answer. It's different for everybody, obviously. But the point of the question is, there is a number and there is a point where you do suddenly start to lose traction if you're not working the database and communicating with them and staying in touch with them. And so I'll hear people who still tell me, I do the birthdays once a year. I do the annual checkups, and I go, that's worked, but there is a real threat to your business and your database that is on its way. It's here. It's already happening. And you have to be more engaged and provide value at greater and greater consistency levels to stay relevant, because that's where we are in today's world. And when you look at social media and database and all the different formats, how do you look at it today, Julie? I mean, you've now seen, like we just kind of covered, in person, database, social. What would be your answer to someone like you on how to approach this?
First, you got to look at the person. It's not a one size fits all. So I would look at each one of you and your strengths, whether it's social media, phone calls, emails, Buzz, you mentioned handwritten notes. Really pick 3 systems, just to simplify it. Pick 3 systems that you do on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, and you do it for 6 months, and you will see results. The problem is people give up too soon. And I think they always, and I go back to this, I've said it a million times, you have to stay consistent because everyone's life changes every 90 days, financially, spiritually, mentally, whatever. There's something in the next 90 days that will change, and you have to be the person that they think of. And this is why we're seeing 23, 24, 25-year-olds take over cities like Folsom in real estate. And you know how many veterans there are in the Folsom market. They're losing market share to all these younger up and comers. Why is that? Because they're on Instagram. They're bringing value on social media. They're bringing stats. They're bringing everything, and they're always forward facing. So 70% of everybody chooses the realtor or lender they see first when the need comes into play. So who's going to win that battle? It's always going to be the person calling, emailing, social media. So the more you're in front of somebody, the more you win. So you got to think that way.
I think that one of the biggest problems with salespeople is that they are not convinced themselves that they have something different to say or to bring value. They think they look at the way that most things have been handled. Well, I'm tired of sending out Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy 4th of July, it's your birthday, all of those things. And then they get this paralysis of, well, what am I going to say? I'm going to call them and go, hey, interest rates are higher this year than they were last year. So screw it. I'm not going to call anybody because I don't have anything to say. Oh, gosh, my fees aren't lower than, that one I saw on the internet. So I'm definitely not going to call and talk to them about. And so I think that most salespeople, if there's 100 salespeople, there's only going to be 20 or 15 that are going to get most of the business. So right. Most of salespeople are terrified that and I think that if you looked on the inside, they're terrified that they don't have anything unique to say or anything of value, and so they would rather get caught up in the minutia of the day. They get caught up in I've got this one loan that's, I got to get the verification of employment, and it's been delayed. And so I'm going to sit here and wring my hands all day. And so salespeople will do anything rather than picking up the phone. And it goes back to, you've got to develop relationships. You got to be able to pick up the phone and go, "Hey, dude, how's the kids doing? You still enjoying the house? What's going on? Don't forget if I know you're going to have to send the kids to college. We might start looking at some of the options that would be available to tap into your equity." Or you've got to be able to have these extra values. Hey, I don't want you to forget summer's coming up. We've got some really great heating and air conditioning people that can do a tune-up. You should do that like 60 days before it's going to be 100 and heck. Yeah. And you should be doing these things right now. So we've got our heating and air conditioning group spotlight going on this month. Those are the things that really bring value. Even if you're calling and leaving a message on their phone, they're going to listen to it. Or you're texting them, "Hey, don't forget
Right.
XYZ. Don't forget for Valentine's Day, bring your family to skate date night and be the hero."
Right.
Don't get to Friday night and go, "Oh crap, I got to go buy Safeway to get a Valentine's card."
But that all goes back to, you're not trying to make a sale. You're just trying
Right.
to add value. And,
Yeah.
and again, you're thinking about, what is it that I could do that would make this person's day, like the Starbucks. And you said something, Julie, and I have to hammer this. I almost asked you to repeat it about people quitting too early. I have this thing that I like to do with my kids where, because it's today's day and age, and I have horrendous handwriting. I wouldn't say just bad, but like the way that I write, I also smear the ink all the time because my hand touches it. So like everyone my wife, my kids, they all make fun of me because like I have to retrace what I've smeared. So I send them text messages that will be a lot of times these kind of long ones that will be stories. And one of the ones that I just sent to my son, who just turned 11 on the 10th, and was sick again. He always seems to be sick on his birthday, poor kid. I reminded him, I said, "Don't quit. Once you start quitting, it becomes a habit. It gets easier every time. And don't be afraid of failure. Failure is all learning, and you never actually fail until you quit. Because as long as you keep at it, eventually success will come." And you said people quit too early, and so they deem things failures or that they didn't work, but it's because they quit before they ever gave it time to work. And so I was just revisiting that text, and he and I were having a conversation about it as I was putting him to bed last night. And I really firmly believe a lot of salespeople start, and once again, they immediately think sale results instantly. "Oh, I'm not getting that." So then they quit doing. But if they go back to, through the lens of, am I giving value to the person on the other end, my partners and my clients? If the answer is yes, keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep going. Don't quit. Even if someone says, "Oh, I can't attend," invite them to the next one. And so that message, and we have a long conversation. My kids all hear it. I'm not going to say I came up with it. Every coach I ever had told me the same thing. You don't fail until you quit. So don't quit.
There's so many stories all across history about people that were almost there and turned around and or was almost had it finished, stopped, and somebody else did it. It's just a common theme.
Buzz, your call out on they don't feel they have the value. And I think that is a great call out, because I think the confidence level, knowing and always bettering yourself every day, whether it's reading books, learning about AI, learning about all this, the more comfortable you get and the more confident you become, the better salesperson you become, right? So like win the appointment before you even show up. So if you're going to an appointment, know everything you can about obviously the market, what's sold, what hasn't, anything you can, because the more knowledgeable you are, the more confident you'll be, the more deals you'll close. 100%.
Well, I think that we forget think about you're a homeowner. You're a home. We forget a lot of times that these people that we're working with, they have all of these fears and needs, and we're in such a unique position to be able to not just help them sell their house or help them close or do the loan, but to, like I said, provide all types of services, remind them that there's certain things that you need to do. I like your series. Remember when you did Friday Fun Facts?
Yes.
It's like one of those would be, how do you actually prune fruit trees without killing them? Or how do you do this with your backyard? Or I mean, there's
how
so
do you
many...
work with a coworker you can't stand
that's
standing right
right.
next to Buzz?
Yeah.
And
So
I'm doing them again. Did you know I'm doing them again?
what?
I've started Friday
I
Fun
saw
Facts.
that the other day.
They're not
Friday
as
Fun Fact.
They're more real estate related, but I might transition into more
But
fun.
think about all of those things that we're in the unique position to remind people and to give them that type of information and services. And again, plumbing, air conditioning, roofing, yard work, swimming pools, all of the services, even down to what kind of thermostat should you really be having nowadays?
Flooring, internet. I mean, it goes on. Life is so complex, and again, it goes. I think what you're saying, Buzz, and it just goes back to, again, there is so much value to give it and confidence. And then I want to get to the mortgage minute because I know we're running up against our time here, but the knowledge is power. I think some people get so obsessed with having to know everything that actually gets in the way of their willingness to go sell. So I think the counter to that is you don't have to know everything. Learn, research, yes. And I totally agree with you, but also go in with a plan to deliver value. The thing that people, when you look at like social media, go in with something intending to deliver value, and it's not going to go wrong. Like, you'll have the haters. Like I said, we've received a lot of comments. We are very well aware cows do not have testicles. We do know that. We're aware.
We call them calf fries.
We call them calf fries. I know that it's only bulls. We love the comments. It's hilarious. We're aware. But delivering value is also a confidence booster. What could you be insecure about if at the end of the day I'm bringing something of value? So I think research, having that information, but what you said as far as research is also value. So essentially you've shown up with value, and I think confidence comes from that. The insecurity that you spoke to, I'm insecure because I don't know if I have anything of value to add or to new. It goes all the way back to that. And I think, candidly, that is where you see the separation with people that make all the difference. The top producers, and look, without it being a plug here, and I'm going to hand you the mortgage minute, what we are doing here is creating, through the lens of our company, opportunities for our people to be the gatekeepers of value. You always have something of value to offer. It's everything in my mind every single day. What value can I deliver? What value can we create for our partners, for our customers, for our loan officers to deliver, to be the gatekeepers of? That is it. And to me, I think confidence is less about having all the answers. I was a very confident loan officer when I didn't know anything. I knew how to say I didn't know, and I knew how to ask. But what I knew I had from a value perspective gave me enough confidence, and it was the energy, and it was the work ethic, and it was all that. And so I do think giving value, and that is why that is our campaign. It goes back. So with that, I'm gonna hand you the mortgage minute, my guys, so we don't run up against our hard stop.
So you know, I say this all the time to preface that usually in rate environment, what's bad for the economy is typically good for interest rates. What's great for the economy is usually bad for interest rates. Now, what's really been weird is it's kind of been set on its head a lot now, and so there's all sorts of weird dynamics. But so this week has been all about employment numbers. We started the week off. Monday was bad. Monday we had a bad day. Then we had the ADP report, which kind of talks about employment numbers, and it was really soft. And so that says, oh, wait a minute, jobs are not doing that well. So we saw a really nice little rally come back. Then on Wednesday we saw the BLS, which is the Bureau of Labor Statistics government report, comes out and says, what are you talking about? Employment is actually really good. So we saw the market sell off again. We did this yo-yo up and down. Yesterday came and we saw the market kind of saying, we don't buy it. And so we rallied back, and we actually had a little bit of a rally going today, going into the 3-day weekend, which is a little bit strange. And it's all coming back. The CPI numbers came out today saying that inflation is actually, continuing to be compressed and coming closer to what the feds really want interest or the inflation numbers to be. So this week has been a yo-yo up and down. The good news is that we are ending the week with better interest rates than what we started. Matter of fact, if you actually look at over the last year, we're kind of sitting right now at pretty much the best that we've seen in the last year. And in the last 2 years, except for maybe 2 or 3 days. And so what that tells me is that we continue to inch up. We're starting to see small, very small incremental improvements in interest rates. Next week is a short week. But we have some important things, durable goods, those types of things. But it's all going to be in kind of focusing on the inflation numbers moving forward to the next Fed meeting. So right now, guys, small incremental improvements. It's been a yo-yo week, but we're ending better than we started. So that's where we are.
Love it. I'm gonna add this point before getting the social media tip of the week to you, Julie, that those small incremental movements, if you have fought this battle, real estate, mortgage, title, right? You've fought, you're here. Being prepared to scale quickly, I think, is what everybody is really needing to be positioned for. And I've been having a lot of conversations lately, and so I'm going to throw it out there to anybody. If you are feeling like you're in a spot where you can't scale quickly and you are looking for solutions or trying to think ahead, feel free to reach out, contact me. I'd be happy to just have a conversation on the side. I think a lot of people who have fought through this are now needing to have a conversation around scaling up and what that looks like, and really shifting their entire thought process away from kind of almost the scarcity, fear-based, as we've talked about plenty. And all right, now what do I do to make sure that I'm ready to go from 2 to 6 to 8 or whatever it is? My contact info and my handles and all that are available, but please feel free to reach out. Happy to have conversations. I love having them, honestly. I love that entire idea of growth and helping people succeed. So with that, Julie, social media tip of the week. Okay. Let's wrap on a high note.
Tip of the week, consistency. And if you're in real estate or lending, the best times to post, pretty much for most algorithms, is 10 to 2, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. It's also important that you post on the same time. So if you are starting out, you want to post minimum 3 times a week. And when you do those posts, do them at the same time every week, because most of the platforms reward consistency at consistent times.
I didn't know that. So before we get away from the subject, Tell us how your progress has been, because you lost. You had something happen on your phone.
Yes.
And you lost a tremendous amount of followers.
You let Buzz borrow your phone for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
I did.
It was like, what is this?
Yes, I didn't have dual. I never could say it. Authentic. Remember you say it.
Two-factor authentication.
Thank you. I didn't have that, and I lost 125,000 followers. So I've had to rebuild. So I am starting it like new people, and I have from zero on my Facebook page where I lost it. I have 16,000 in less than a month, and on Instagram I'm up to 22,000. So it works. I'm telling
Wow.
you just have to do it. Now I do it every day, and I know that's a lot. And if you're starting out, but I've been doing it every day for 5 years. But if you just did half of that, where could you be? So I would just say the word of the day is consistency, and do it on the same times every week.
Love that. I think consistency and predictability is, one of those things that it applies to just about everything in life. So why would it not apply here, right? Love it. Great tip. Great mortgage minute. I won't say great shoes, but much improved from
Man, I
the
think
week before.
these are killer shoes. Come on.
Looking forward to seeing everyone tonight at Skate Date Night. Shout out to everybody at SAC, Association of Realtors. Hope you enjoy the crab feed. Julie will be there for us in spirit. And with that, it's been another episode of the Blitz Break. I'm your host, Phil Rasmussen. For Buzz and Julie, we're out of here. Enjoy your Valentine's Day weekend, and we'll see you next week.